how many tokens did you generate and what's the accuracy and
accuracy per token, practically.
something like that. It's very difficult, of course,
Neat
to figure it
idea.
out, but
Yeah.
it's something like that because
Effectiveness per token.
yeah, I mean, generating a million tokens, what does that mean? What did you just generate?
Yeah.
Did you just figure out
Yeah.
what the weather is going to be in 5 different places?
Well, that's a good point, because right now, I think that the trade-off is, we're still in the phase of AI where it is better to burn more in order to get a better result without really worrying about efficiency. And to me, that's another thing I think that demonstrates the sort of total chaos that we're surrounded by, is that efficiency, despite the talk about power consumption and water consumption, and efficiency is very much an afterthought at this point. Right now, I think that when looking at, if we want to kind of turn the page here, when we look at agentic applications, what I'm hearing from people that are developing and deploying these is that they are very happy to use bigger, more effective, and more token-heavy models in order to get a better result. And not only that, but that they're starting to do, frankly, what I do when experimenting with agents, which is stacking models on top of each other. So essentially, I have, an orchestrator model, a coach, and then I've got a whole team that are all doing different aspects of the task. And many of those are actually checking each other. And so, like, this is this one's doing the research, this one's filtering the input, this one's doing the quote thinking or processing, and then it feeds it to this other one, which criticizes its thinking and feeds it back, and so on. And I'm seeing a lot more like that. And every step burns more and more and more tokens. And frankly, I see it in myself, but I also definitely see it in the industry. There is no concern apart from the financial concern for token effectiveness and efficiency.
Right, exactly. It's because the context has to move from one agent to another agent, and yeah, there's no stopping to it. And I think at least companies like Anthropic, they have now tutorials where they're kind of explaining, well, we have different kind of models, but you don't have to use always the biggest, meanest model. You can start with some other model, do some planning with that, and then move on.
Isn't the biggest, meanest model just the easy button?
Well,
in a scenario where, admittedly, you don't go from easy to less easy. You go from easy to freaking difficult in in one step practically. But it's like the easy button. There's a lot of other things we'll figure out later. For now,
right. But I think
bigger is better.
I think the difference today is when there's a new version of a large language model, version 5 from Anthropic or so on. There are no release notes saying this is what changed.
Yeah.
And so,
is that even possible? Yes,
but we all try to figure it out.
Right.
No, there's documentation. I can't remember the name of it. There's explanatory documentation.
Yeah, that would be like 1,000 books, maybe. I don't
remember what it's called, and frequently it's seen as inadequate, but it is out there. Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
But yeah, but the definite challenge there is that with these large language models, you don't really know exactly what's happening. So the reason why people are excited about a new large language model is to find out, will it do better than before?
Will my prompt finally work?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it does seem sort of a like let's just throw the kitchen sink at it kind of approach. And if you think too about like these reasoning models, the way that they're doing that is just by running again and again and again. One of the things that also gets me is that the token usage of these more and more advanced models is just off the charts. I remember seeing somebody pointing out that the token usage going from, I don't want to call them out because it's not solely their problem, but basically the yesterday's biggest frontier model to today's biggest frontier model was anywhere between 1.3 and 3 times as high. And of course, those models are more expensive, which means that running the same query yesterday costs maybe 3 times or 4 times less than it does today. And there's very little clarity to the users that that's going on. Can you imagine if tomorrow you woke up and got in your car and it got 1/4 the gas mileage that it did yesterday, and everyone was totally fine with that? I mean, okay, that was a drop the mic moment, I guess. So what do we do here?